Next morning, Fumi woke up feeling strange. She reached for her phone and nearly dropped it when she saw the notification. Her bank account had been credited with an enormous sum of money, far more than she ever imagined she would see again. She sat up, staring at the screen in shock. Where did this come from? She whispered to herself. Her first instinct was to check who had made the transfer, but there was no name. It was like the money had appeared out of thin air. Fumi's heart raced as she stared at the numbers. Could this be a mistake? She was about to call the bank when a thought crossed her mind. Kunle, but that didn't make sense. He had left her with nothing, but why would he suddenly send her all this money? Confused and anxious, Fumi decided to clear her head. There was only one place she could think to go, the place she always went when she needed peace. She quickly dressed and drove to the cemetery, to her sister Lola's grave. As she approached the grave, something stopped her dead in her tracks. Her breath caught in her throat as she saw it. Kunle's lifeless body lying next to Lola's grave. His face was frozen in horror, his skin pale as snow. Fumi gasped, her hands covering her mouth in shock. She didn't know what to do. She screamed, the sound cutting through the silent cemetery. Her cries quickly drew the attention of a nearby groundskeeper who came rushing over. Within minutes, the authorities arrived and Kunle's body was taken away. No one could explain how he had ended up there or what had happened to him. Fumi stood there, shaking and confused. None of it made any sense. How could Kunle have ended up at her sister's grave? Why had she suddenly received that large sum of money? Fumi knelt by her sister's grave. Lola, what happened? Her eyes filled with tears. A sudden chill ran down her spine, and Fumi felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. It was as if Lola was there with her, watching over her. Slowly, Fumi began to understand. Lola had somehow intervened, somehow found a way to punish Kunle for what he had done. Thank you, Fumi whispered, wiping away her tears. She stayed at the grave for a long time, talking to her sister, pouring out her heart. By the time she left, she felt lighter, as if a great burden had been lifted from her shoulders. Over the next few weeks, Fumi used the money that had mysteriously appeared in her account to rebuild her life. She paid off her debts, started a new business, and slowly returned to the confident, successful woman she had once been. She surrounded herself with friends who cared about her and never looked back at the painful memories of Kunle.